That is ridiculous. Hey everybody, this is Sully with 5 freaking onion rings, and I am doing this from it hurts me to say, but I'm doing this video to you live streamed, kinda, not really. It's OBS recording from an M1 MacBook Air. And if you look behind me, that is a PC, and that is a very good PC. It's a Ryzen 3600 overclocked to 4.2 gigahertz on all 6 cores, running a 2070 Super. It is fast, it is great, it is back there, and it's turned off right now because I've moved pretty much all of my music production stuff over to an M1 MacBook Air. And I wanted to go over, as a PC user, why I made that switch for just production. And I'm not switching from PC. I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm a PC and I went to Mac and everything's so much better. I'm giving my impressions as a PC user going over to Mac and why. I wanted to start off with, basically, we're going to switch over here. This is the HD camera that's on the M1 MacBook Air, and it's really good. I like it. It's a 720 camera. It's not the greatest thing. I did not get it for this camera, but I do like having this camera on here. And if you're wondering, yes, I am still rocking the COVID hair, and haven't had a haircut in a year now because of COVID. So my ears are cold, so I got my hat on. I can pull it down too if I really want, and I can be the whole 9 yards, but I thought I would keep it here. But anyway, I have my HD camera on my MacBook Air. It's running off of battery right now, which is the very first reason why I wanted to go over to a Mac. Now, I looked at the M1 Mini, the M1 MacBook Pro, and the M1 MacBook Air. And if you read any of the reviews out there, you'll find that the M1 Air and the M1 MacBook Pro are so similar that nothing on them made me think that I would want to pay an extra $300. So first off, you must know about me. I am very cheap. I hate the Apple tax. I despise it. I think Apple's pricing system is ridiculous. So I went with a baseline M1 MacBook Air. 8 gigabytes of RAM, 250 gigs of hard drive. That's it. And I went with that. I did not want to pay an extra $300 to get 1 centimeter larger trackpad, 10 millimeters, or for that slidey thing, or for the Pro speakers, or for the Pro mic. I've got a good mic. I've got a good audio interface. I've got good speakers. I've got good headphones. I didn't need any of that. I don't feel like the MacBook Pro speakers were anything special, and I don't feel like the mic was anything special. Not to the point that those features combined with the same speed and the same output and a little bit bigger battery life were worth $300. I don't. I feel like if you were going this way, let's just be honest about it. If you were looking at either the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro, take your extra $300, upgrade to 512 gigs of hard drive space, upgrade to 16 gigs of RAM. That's the only way to make that cost effective. MacBook Pro right now, not even in the ballpark. You will pay an Apple tax just to have a few features that quite honestly aren't worth it. Look up every review in the history of ever right now. You wouldn't. Now, why didn't I go with the Mac Mini? Why not the Mac Mini? It requires always being powered on. I wanted something portable. It is $300 cheaper than the MacBook Air, but for that extra $300, I got a screen, so I know I'm getting the Mac color space and all of the Mac display properties that I wanted because I didn't want to have to buy another monitor, and I didn't want to have to get something that was calibrated. If I bought the MacBook Air, everything's all in place like it should be. The screen works. You know, I also get a keyboard, and I have to say the touch keyboard is very good. I like the new keyboard. I didn't like the butterfly thing. I kept trying, didn't do it. And I love the Mac trackpad. I think that trackpad is something that everyone should emulate. It is really, really, really good. Let's see if I can switch over. You can't see it, but anyway, it's this trackpad, and it's really good. It is intuitive. It is easy to use. It is, you get swipes, you get gestures, and you get everything. It is really good. If I bought the M1 Mini, I would have had to have either buy the Apple mouse or use a regular mouse. And quite frankly, One of the reasons I switched over is so I get the full Apple experience. So with that, I wanted to make sure I had a good display. So I've got a 1440 behind me, and I've got a ultra wide 1080 double screen that's for my PCs. They're very good displays, but I wanted to make sure that what I had worked with Apple and worked, within that color space. Wanted to make sure it was all as good as it could be within, because I figured if I'm going to go in, may as well go in. $300 for a screen, a trackpad, a keyboard, and a battery life of 18 hours. And quite frankly, I've run this off nothing but battery for several days. I felt that was worth $300. I don't think the 300 upgrade to the MacBook Pro, not at all. I don't think that's worth it. The speed and performance, I can tell you I will probably never max it out with the programs I'm running. I am currently running Logic Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Main Stage. Those are the main three reasons I got it. I want to try Final Cut Pro and see if I like it better than DaVinci, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with DaVinci. I am familiar with that program. I think it's very good. Now, with all of those, I can run them on battery, and the battery is one of the main reasons why I went to a MacBook. If you can do 6 or 7 hours of actual work on it and get things done, that's amazing. If you can do 18 of with browsing, that's so amazing. Things I was worried about that were overcome very quickly. I use an audio interface. You'll have to forgive the mess, but I use an audio interface that goes into my Mac. Let's just move this over here. Goes into my Mac through, I bought a dongle. This dongle gives me HDMI out. So if I do want to use an external monitor, it gives me 2 USB ports, an SD slot, and a power port. I wanted to make sure I could charge if I needed to off of this dongle. That only takes up one of my Thunderbolt ports, and it's actually only USB-C. So I have one. What I plugged into that is another 4 ports of USB power, and that's what's actually powering my Canon. My Canon camera right now are those 4 USB ports, and that just worked. I was surprised that I was able to just plug in one USB Thunderbolt. Actually, it's not even Thunderbolt. It's USB-C extension, and I got my 4K out, HDMI, and 2 of the USB ports. I daisy chained into another 4 USB ports, so I have 5 open USB ports plus a power charger plus a SD card in micro and full size, and all those run well. And that works, and my interface works with it, which is it's an external interface that does power out to another PC if I want, but everything on that whole setup is wireless. So it runs my keyboard, it runs my interface, it runs my microphone, and everything's wireless. Like right now, not wireless, I'm sorry, everything's not powered. It's off the battery from the Mac Air, and I love that. So I can pick this whole situation up and move somewhere else because I like to be mobile. So if I want to go set up at someone's house, or if I want to go, actually I'm doing it for a friend who's just setting up to record, I can move this whole setup and pretty much be set up. And I love that. I love that. And I don't have to worry about being charged because I know there's no way I'm going to do a session that's more than 5 hours. And I've already done 5 to 10 hours of freaking recording on this. I play Logic Pro. I practice a couple hours a night. And one of the best things about this Mac is that I can treat it like an iPad, or I can treat it like my phone, which is basically charge it in the morning, charge it overnight, pick it up, and go about your day. And I don't have to worry about it. And that to me is that is a huge sell point. I love that. I think that is great. Now I'm going to switch over to here. You're going to get a weird view up in here. This is OBS. It's running. I can live stream from it. Now I have set up, if you've been on my channel a while, you probably saw me live streaming some stuff a couple weeks ago, and I would just have a long stream going of games. And that was running off battery. So I know I can live stream off battery for hours at a time without a problem. It's amazing. And if you switch over, I've got Logic running. I've got Chrome, just pops right up. Chrome, I feel like it's just in the background. It's amazing. It just pops right up. Everything works. It's very smooth, and yeah. So no matter how many, I haven't done the tabs thing. I'm not set up to be a, ooh, this is so fast. I don't measure performance like that. Let's be honest. I don't. Since I'm using the trackpad, I do have cool gestures I can do to see screens and to see, whatever I've got. And I have currently two desktops, so I can switch back and forth pretty quickly between the two. And that's cool. And it's smooth. It works great. Like, I am blown away by how smooth and amazing this is. And this is me as a PC user. I'm a lifetime PC user. And this has just been phenomenal. Now, one of the things I never liked about Mac was that you can't upgrade it. And then whenever the M1 came out, I'm like, as long as I can get extra hard drive space attached, which I'm doing through my little dongle here, I can get extra hard drive space attached. As long as I'm doing that, I can store all my video stuff over there. I can store all my music stuff over there. You can run sounds and Logic off of an SSD attached to that power support, and that's amazing. As long as I can do that, I can install. Probably only have 100 gigs at most of programs I will install to this. So that'll leave me another 100 open. I can install samples into my digital. I can play them off of here. But anyway, as long as I can install onto my hard drive, things load instantly. They work really well. And I don't feel that I will need more than, a couple hundred gigs of that very, very super fast memory. So I wasn't too worried about upgrading that. 8 gigs of RAM. I know that it does swap drives, and I know it swaps out, and I know it runs into RAM running out. But the way they've optimized the system is so good that you don't notice it as an end user. Now, a PC user, I don't like lag. I don't like things that aren't snappy, whatever. But I know there are some back end pieces that the Mac does to swap that memory over. So as long as you're not running a completely full hard drive, it will swap over. It's almost as fast as the regular RAM, and it'll swap out. And you, as a user, don't notice that. At least I have not. And I've run tons of plugins. I've run tons of things in DaVinci. I've got 4K timeline streaming. They work. Everything works. So that always blows my mind, especially this new DaVinci especially the new DaVinci where it's just it scrubs, no problems at all. Especially the one it's made for Macs. Like, this one's just good. I love DaVinci Resolve, by the way. It's a great program. But this thing, it's just made to run well. And that's what I wanted to come across as a PC user. I'm not switching to Mac, don't get me wrong, but for what I have, I looked at the M1 Air as a tool, and it does exactly what I want. I also have an iPad that I bought last year, again, as a tool, because I knew the price and I knew the parts that I was getting were actually worth what I was getting. And with the M1, for the first time ever, I can say this without a doubt, first time ever, the parts and the performance match up. And they can charge whatever they want for, the hardware on the inside. You can say you're overcharging for RAM or you're doing this, but for the baseline performance, this versus my super duper awesome, it's not top of the line. I would call it more high mid tier. It will compete relatively well, except in gaming. It's no contest. That one so much better in gaming. But I don't care. I don't want to game on this. Like, I don't understand the laptop gaming craze. But for the first time in forever, I feel like Apple finally hit something that the Apple tax didn't apply. And for the hardware you're getting, for the speed you're getting, for the performance you're getting, and the fact that I can daisy chain out and make the extra USB ports and get myself an extra, HDMI monitor, and run my sound stuff off of it and do all the things that Mac is known for, I feel like that is amazing. Which brings me to, what do I not like about it? And I'm going to tell you, the only thing I do not like about this Mac, the only thing is I am not a fan of Mac OS. And I'm going to show you right now exactly what part of Mac OS I don't like. I'm just going to click a button here, Start Virtual Camera. And it's going to say OBS wants to make changes. And it's going to force me to put in my password. And I'm going to be honest, that one thing drives me insane. I cannot install patches, I cannot install programs, I cannot make have programs running without having to input my password every freaking time. And some people like that about Mac. They go, "Oh, that's the security." That's not security because I've already gotten into the Mac. I've already gotten into it. That means I probably already have the password. And by that time, if I'm stealing your Mac, I guarantee you, I will get your password before I steal it, before I walk away. So, like, that protection is like, let's take off your belt at TSA. It's not really protection because there's just so many different ways you can go about protecting a PC. They're so much better than making the average user have to put in a password just to run a program. I despise that. I despise that. That's actually one of the reasons why I have kept off of Apple for years, is because I despise being in that little sandbox. I hate it. I hate having to put in a credit card number. I hate having, I had to turn off all the tracking. I had to turn off credit card. I had to turn off, purchase from Apple Store. I don't really get apps from an Apple Store. I normally get them through discount places and whatnot. So with that, that's it. That's the only thing I don't like about this. I don't like the Mac security around it. If I have a program, I want to be able to install it. I want to be able to run it. If I have to set myself as a user, a super user, and put my thumbprint in and a password one time, I don't mind. But this constant nagging me for a freaking just nag, 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 nag. If I'm installing sounds in a program, I'm doing that. I know what I'm doing. I don't like to be anything. If I had an option to turn that off, I would be so happy. I would be so much happier with this thing. I like it otherwise. So if you're an Apple user out there and you stuck around this long and you know how to turn that thing off, please tell me how. The other part of it, since I have an iPad, it came with a year of Apple TV. And so my Apple TV is downstairs. I had to change my password when I logged in with this thing. And because of that, the Apple TV, logged itself out. My wife put in my old password. And for some reason, it locked my freaking iPad for 10 minutes. And I don't see how that's a security feature. She puts a password in on my Apple TV, on the Apple TV account that's running off of an Amazon Fire Stick, and it locks my iPad. Because of that, my FaceTime on my Mac locked up. So I had to call Mac support, get them to unlock my FaceTime on this Mac, which meant I had to change my password again, which meant I had to run downstairs and grab my iPad, which meant I had to do the secondary validation on my iPad to log me into my Mac, which then reset the one for my Apple TV. That is ridiculous, to the extent of ridiculous. I should not have to go through that much trouble just to use a program, just use something I bought and someone put in a password a couple times wrong. If I got an email that said, "Hey, someone's trying to use your password, do you approve?" Email would have been fine. Something else. Not having me have to run around trying to find my other iPad or Mac related things. That to me, that pushes me off Apple far more than anything else in the entire. I can get used to OS changes. I can get used to interface changes. I can get used to how to use programs. I can get used to all of these things. That's security feature of me having to run downstairs to find my iPad to unlock my MacBook. That is, oh, hate that. I thought it had gotten better. It's gotten worse, far worse. And if you're like, "Ooh, that's a safety measure," I assure you, Windows user, I used to run wide open. I've got VPN set up. I've got security. I don't have a problem with. And if I had a feature, an option to turn off all of those things for this MacBook, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would leave on my tracking so that if someone did steal it, I could disable it. If I lost my MacBook and I had to just wipe it clean, I like having that feature. As soon as it comes on, just wipes clean. That's a great feature. I have that on my Android actually. I don't have that. If you ever break into my house and you steal my PC, you're not going to get much because it's not wide open. Actually, you're not. But anyway, I won't be able to wipe it clean remotely. I can wipe this clean remotely. That's the only security feature they have that is worth it. The rest of them are just what I call false security. Drives me insane. I don't understand how it works. Like I just don't understand how in a playpen you are. It's like I have a, oh, what do you call it? One of those padded cribs. I have a padded crib with a parachute and a landing thing. Like it's too much. It's too much. I don't need it. I'm ranting. Holy cow. And the thing is, with all that, I love using this thing. It's great. So I'm going to leave the security thing alone. As long as you're not installing programs every day or making alterations or, trying to use your computer, all right, it's pretty good. Just make sure you never put your password in wrong ever, and that you keep your Apple ID and your MacBook passwords. They're two separate passwords. Other than that, as a PC user, it's an easy switch over. Some things on the Mac are just so much easier. Audio is so much easier because you can route things, and I can actually have Logic routed into OBS so it streams right out. I don't have to set up any weird streaming programs or anything else, and latency is great. So for things Mac, it's very easy. The $9.99 price I got it from Expercom, which there's a link down below. I am not affiliated with them, so I prefer it if you bought it through Amazon because I am affiliated with that. But Expercom, no tax, which you should declare on your taxes because that's you should. And there was no tax, and there was a $60 discount. So I ended up getting the whole setup for under $9.50, and then with a credit card, 2% cash back, and I still got my 90 days Apple Care and all that good stuff. So yeah, Expercom, they're very good. They also had it. They said out of stock. Everybody said out of stock. They shipped it to me in 5 days. I was impressed. It was good. It was very good. So I'm going to leave it with that. I know this was a long, not quite a review, but definitely a PC user. I'm not switching to Mac. I'm going to let it go with that. I'm going to start. I have a Discord channel down below. If you like this, give me a like, thumbs up. My eyesight is going weird, so drone stuff I'm having to lay off of. I'm hoping to let my eyes rest so I can, start to see clearly again. Um, so in that vein, I've been looking at going to Twitch to do some more music and live stream music, and just be a much happier person and a happier place to be around. And I won't be live streaming on YouTube as much just because every time I start a live stream, I lose subscribers. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing more on DaVinci until my eyesight gets back in DaVinci. When Betaflight comes out, I'll be back in Betaflight. Hop over to my Discord. We have some great people who are MUFlight and Betaflight knowledgeable. And yeah, it's just a fun place to hang out. But I want to thank you so much. Like, thumbs up, subscribe. And yeah, let's make some good stuff happen. 2021, rocking the COVID hair. I mean, rocking the COVID hair. I love it. Y'all have a good day. Take care. Be good. Be good at it. We are out.